Siren Queen by Nghi Vo is the latest book from the author. I have read the novellas, 2 out of the 3. I haven't read the new one yet. And I didn't read The Chosen and the Beautiful because it's just a Great Gatsby remake with added magic and stuff. But this one was really interesting. It's very similar to, in tone, to The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. We meet a young girl named CK, and she ends up on a film set when she's really young, and the director likes her, so lets her be in the background for many films. Her parents don't approve, but she basically wants to become a Hollywood star. And since she has a special relationship with the director, she basically wants to sort of break into Hollywood, but you know, she's not sure who to trust because she's young and impressionable. So this book tries to have a lot of interesting themes. CK goes up against racism and sexism in the 30s in the Hollywood industry, so it has that sort of nostalgic Hollywood feel, the storyline, her navigation of this new world, but also her relationship with her sister and her parents as well. But I didn't like the injection of the fantasy element. It's magical realism, but it's so vague. It's just like they mention, it's just so weird because they never sit you down and tell you what the magic system is. They just mention it, and then they just sort of, it almost feels kind of lazy. It's the equivalent of like you're sitting in a tavern with your mates and you're going to go on a quest, and then someone goes, "Oh, don't forget to equip your rods." And you're kind of just sitting there like, what does that mean? And then they just don't explain it. It's just like slang, you know, like, so this book does that a lot. You know, apparently people have patrons. Some people are shapeshifters. They're animals. They don't really explain it. There's like a creature that they sacrifice to, that the big studio bosses have to, like, once a year have to send them one soul or something, and that's not really explored or whatever. But CK quickly has a name change, and she becomes Lulu, and she basically has to work her way up the studio system when she gets a contract, and then sort of works. It's her journey of becoming an actress. So she basically has like she has to like go to like these different people to get information, so she doesn't be disadvantaged. And she meets a lot of characters along the way, and we get a sapphic love story with some different characters here and there. And that was the aspect that reminded me of Evelyn Hugo. But this book's a little bit on the short side, and it sort of feels kind of curtailed by the end. You know, I still enjoyed the storyline overall, but I felt a little derivative. It felt like it was trying to be the new Evelyn Hugo, but I'll make it different by adding some magic and stuff, but not really. You know, I kind of feel like the author does this a lot. They have a lot of lyrical prose, they have some cool characters and a concept, but they kind of just don't really explain any of the magic system or world building because she doesn't want to. And she thinks being vague is like, you know, more artsy and more, you know, it's really hard to do that though, because if you don't do it right, it just seems like you're just making stuff up, you know. Like Ursula K. Le Guin does a really good job with her Earthsea books. Those are soft magic systems, very taking place over many times of years, spans of time. And this one is, you know, just not up to par. It's just like introducing stuff without explaining, you know, Hollywood stuff. So overall, it was still, I still finished it. It was a pretty solid read, but you know, it's a little bit on the short side, and I didn't like the lack of explanation for certain things. So I give Siren Queen a 2.5 out of 5.